Hey everybody, welcome to edition of this edition, if I can speak correctly, of Thursday Tunes. And today I'm going to be talking to you about a specific artist and a specific song that made me realize something about myself that I wasn't aware of, kind of wasn't at the front of my mind at the time of these thoughts. So back in 2012, Frank Ocean, which is who I'm going to be talking about, released his first album, Channel Orange. And that album was received a really wide critical acclaim. He won a Grammy for it, so really wide critical acclaim and also popular acclaim. So people, like the public, really loved the album. So 2012, that was sophomore year of college, going into second semester. So spring of 2013, I think the song "Thinking About You" either became more popular or it just came across my radar. So I went and listened to it. And I remember kind of my first reaction when listening to it was that it made me uncomfortable. And it made me uncomfortable specifically because it was a song about a man, Frank Ocean, singing about his kind of love and longing for another man. And going into listening to that, I think I had known that he had come out as bisexual before releasing that first album. And I think the reason he did it was because of some of the themes and subject matter on the album. So he didn't want to have people guessing about his sexuality. He just wanted to come out and say it himself, and then people can interpret the album more correctly. So listening to that song and knowing that, it made me feel uncomfortable, which was weird for me because I didn't have any problem with people being gay or bisexual or lesbian, like people with sexual preferences, gender expression, all of those things didn't make me feel uncomfortable. And I'm saying this as someone who's spent time in a feminist group on campus. So like those ideas and concepts don't make me uncomfortable, but for some reason that song made me uncomfortable. And my initial reaction was like, well, I don't like this song. And it was only because I couldn't make myself feel comfortable like singing along to a song where a man is talking about loving another man. And in thinking about that, I realized that I was a hypocrite because outwardly I would tell people like, oh yeah, I don't have any problem if you're gay, if you're bisexual, but inwardly, and I should make it strongly and very clear that these were not conscious thoughts inwardly before that, out listening to that song. These were things that I guess were in there, but I never really thought about. So back to what I was saying, like if someone had said like, hey Elliot, I'm gay, like it wouldn't have bothered me, but for some reason, like listening to a man sing about loving another man made me feel uncomfortable. So it really brought to light this internal hypocrisy that I had. And to make it even weirder, there are definitely like tons of songs that I like about women expressing their love for men. And so I had no problem with singing along to those songs, but I had a problem with singing along to a song where a man is talking about loving another man. And I think it's because maybe internally I just could connect to heterosexual love more than homosexual love, which I mean, once I realized that internal hypocrisy, I really had to self-reflect and think like, why does that matter to you? Like if the music is good, the music is good. It doesn't matter how this person identifies or expresses himself. And so after kind of some internal, I wouldn't say battling because that makes it seem like I had a really strong stance on the inside. But after just thinking about it and realizing that this is really stupid, I was able to move past that and listen to the song and the way that he meant it to be listened to without you harping on that. I listened to the song and realized wow, this song is really great, and realized that the song isn't necessarily about a man sharing his love or expression of love for another man. The song is about love in general and longing for love in that person. So really examining that internal hypocrisy and maybe bias within myself really forced me to view his work on its own merit and not through this specific lens, even though that's a part of who he is, that's a part of his subject matters and his music thematically. That's not or at least I should say, I don't think that's the lens he wants you to view him and his art through. So was able to move past that, and I'm very happy I did. So like Frank Ocean was definitely one of my favorite artists, and artists that I routinely check for whenever he releases new music. I listen to it pretty quickly because I know it's going to be really good quality, really great sounds, really good ideas, both thematically, lyrically, artistically. So he's an artist that I really look out for, and I'm happy I did kind of get past that point in my appreciation of his music. So after that album, I went back and I listened to some of his earlier stuff. So he released Nostalgia Ultra, which was a mixtape. Now it was supposed to be his first album, and I think at the time he was signed to Def Jam. He released Nostalgia Ultra as a mixtape because he had some contractual disputes with Def Jam and he wanted to get his music out. So Nostalgia Ultra, another really good project. I think American Wedding might be my favorite song on the album just because of the story that it tells. It's a very, very vivid story that he tells through the lyrics. And then we have Channel Orange, his like first official album. Another great album that I really love. So Thinking About You, that song that kind of sparked this whole internal dilemma. That song was that song's a really good song from that album. We have Pink Matter, another great one. Pyramids, it's really expansive story. It's like a 7-minute song, goes through like 2 different time points in history, but kind of tells the same story in each time point. So that's like I think what he did on that song lyrically was just amazing, and how he was able to tell that story. Crack Rocks, another good song that kind of has a personal connection for me, and it's a song about drug addiction and not like just how damaging it is to your body, but also like the personal connections and relationships that you have with people and how it's damaging to those. So that was 2013. And then after that, Frank Ocean kind of fell off the map. So in music, most artists are on a 2-year cycle when they release music. So let's say someone releases an album in January, they start a tour. That tour may run from February to June, July, depending on how big the artist is. It could go all year. Then after that, they're like done. They like maybe they don't go into seclusion, but they aren't as public as they were before, and that's when they're like coming up with new thoughts, ideas, and writing music. And they're also doing that type of stuff while they're touring as well. So from the time they release their first album, over that year or two, they're like coming up with new ideas, recording, etc. And so someone released an album in January 2018, they're usually ready to release another album in January 2020. So that's the typical cycle. Frank Ocean completely did not follow that. So his first album came out in 2012. I think many people expected to hear something from him by 2014. 2014 came and went with nothing. 2015 came and went with nothing. I think there may have been like spatterings of like, oh, like he's working on stuff. It's going to come out XYZ. And he also was like kind of fanning the flames of this because on his website, he had this, these are probably not used anymore, but if you went to the library 10 years ago, 15 years ago, you get a library card, or not a library card, but a due date or a return card in the back of the book where they'd stamp when you checked out the book, when it needs to be returned. So on his website, he had one of those with dates on it. And the dates, people assumed, and probably correctly, that the date that was on there is the date his album was supposed to be released. And then what happened was the date kept changing to a later date. So it's like he was missing deadlines that either people were setting for him or he set for himself. But either way, he was missing those deadlines. So August 2016 comes around. There's like kind of blabberings from the music world that Frank Ocean's ready to like release music. And then there's this live stream that showed up. And so just for like context in my life, 2016, August 2016, entering my second year of my PhD. I'm at the moment like working on my first paper, trying to like get that done. It's taken months to like really get it to the stage that it's at, and like we're getting ready to submit it to a journal. And I get wind that like Frank Ocean's going to do this live stream. So I have this like momentary conflict of, do I watch this live stream or do I actually do my work and advance my career? And what I decided to do was the best of both worlds. I have 2 monitors. I can do both things. And what really ended up happening was 70% of my time was spent looking at this live stream. 30% was actually spent working on my paper. And his live stream lasted, I think, 2, 3, 4 days. So basically a week of productivity loss. But in this live stream, we basically, I mean, he had hundreds of thousands of people watching him build a staircase. We didn't know it was a staircase in the beginning, but we're seeing him build something. So we see him cutting wood, we see him hammering stuff, we see him nailing things, we see him sawing angle iron, we see him welding. So all of that's like the video display, but the audio, like you hear some of the audio of the workshop, but the main audio is like music that's playing. So some of the music is like stuff from him, some is music from other people he likes. And so it's like a really, I guess, weird way to connect with your audience was by have them watch you make something. So the live stream, at the end of the live stream, he puts together the spiral staircase and he walks to the top of it. And I think at the end of that live stream, two things are supposed to happen. So one, this live stream is actually an album in and of itself. So it was pre-recorded, so it wasn't really a live stream. That was an album in and of itself, and it's a visual album. So what we were watching is the visual album. And then some of the music that was playing is music that goes with that album. And then there were other songs that weren't played that were on that album. So that was, I think, released almost immediately. And then what was supposed to happen next is that another, like, more traditional album was supposed to be released. And so the reason he released two albums at the same time was through his original contract with the recording company, he had to give them two albums to meet his contractual obligation. So they got Channel Orange, and then they got this other visual album, Endless. Although I think it's like really great. There are a lot of songs that I like on there, like Rushes 2 is a really good song, and I'm blank, or I think UNITY is another really good song on there. But you can tell that he didn't put as much energy into that album as he did the second album that released, Blonde. So Blonde released 2 or 3 days later. And because he met his contractual obligations, Blonde he released independently. So like he gets all the royalties and money and he owns it and everything. But Blonde, I think for most people is the superior product. It's like got a lot of critical acclaim, public acclaim. And that album like really, I guess, cemented his status within the current musical paradigm, because he's like really unafraid to do things in music and R&B and pop that I think many artists at his level wouldn't do, because they don't know how it's going to be perceived. So the way he's like pitch shifting his voice, some of the language that he talks about, how airy some of the songs are, so they're not like 4 on the floor, they're not very high tempo, like boom, 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 boom. They can be very airy and very spacey, and you have to be willing to commit and listen to those songs. It's not like they're really long songs, it's just that they don't like keep your attention with boom, here's something new, boom, here's something new. Like they build and they grow. So the album in some ways, maybe not lyrically, but in the way you have to commit to it, feels like a movie. You have to like be willing to immerse yourself in the world. Whereas some other albums feel like a season of a TV show where every song is like boom, 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 boom. I gotta keep you entertained for the time that I have you. And then next song, same thing. So Blonde, really great album. There are a lot of songs that I like on there, like Godspeed, White Ferrari. I think Solo is the name of one of the songs. I'm blanking on them. Nike is another good song. Nights, another really great song that a lot of people like. So yeah, that album is really great. Like I said, Frank Ocean is one of my favorite artists. I have some memorabilia from that album. So along with releasing that album, he also released his magazine through some pop-up shops, and I think there were maybe 3 or 4 of them in Chicago, New York, Los Angeles. I think there might have been one in London. But there you could get this magazine for free. I didn't live in any of those places at the time, but my friend Max did, and he knew I was a fan of Frank Ocean, so he got me this. To this day, it might be one of the coolest things that someone has gotten me. I haven't opened it yet, so it's still like all sealed in this original packaging. And I haven't opened it yet. I guess for like memorabilia, nostalgia, keepsake reasons. And I should say it's called. If you want to look it up, it's called Boys Don't Cry. I know what it looks like on the inside, so I've seen like a real life version where I flip the pages, etc. But you can find a digital copy online where you can see all the same stuff. But yeah, so that's like something really cool that I have with Frank Ocean that probably gonna try and keep as long as I'm alive. Maybe I'll pass it down in my will or something. Maybe we won't get that far if I manage. I will keep up with it, but maybe it might be worth something, a lot of money one day. Who knows? But that's kind of besides the point. So in wrapping up this video, I'm happy that 2013 Elliot was able to, one, realize, and two, confront this internal problem or internal hypocrisy that I recognize, because had I not recognized that, one, I would have been, I guess, that same person up until something else kind of called out that hypocrisy. So that's like the human aspect of why it was important for me to grow, because I mean, holding those type of viewpoints, whether you know them or not, are not helpful for anyone. They're not helpful for you. So I'm happy I was able to move past that. And two, for more personal and maybe selfish reasons, I'm happy I was able to move past that, because if I didn't, I would have missed out on so much great music from Frank Ocean, someone whose music that I've really been able to connect to, someone who does things very sonically with the instrumentation that not many other artists are able to or willing to do. So I really appreciate that I'm able to like fully indulge myself and embrace his music because I was able to get past that point. So yeah, that's kind of like how I got into Frank Ocean, I guess, and how I was able to grow as a person because of him and that song, thinking about you. So yeah, I mean, that's the first Thursday Tunes. Next time, I think I'll try and talk about a different artist and his recent project that came out, Westside Gunn. It's an album called Pray for Paris that I think is really good. There are two songs on there in particular that just like I keep replaying because of, yeah, I'll get to that next week. But yeah, look up Westside Gunn, Pray for Paris, listen to the album. I know for some of you, it might be like maybe abrasive, and or you might think like, I couldn't picture Elliot listening to this, but I mean, the music's good. So listen to that, and I think I'll talk about that next time. So thank you for watching Thursday Tunes. If you like what I do, share it with friends, leave me a comment, like, subscribe, just interact with me so I can know like that, so I can know what type of things you all want to hear me talk about, or etc. So peace out. See you next time.